They do boast the Southern Conference Player of the Week and reigning Player of the Year in Rachael Rose, who averages up over 20 per contest, these Terriers. So she's certainly the premier player to keep an eye on. And you know how things have gone of late for Virginia. This team with only a couple of losses, both of them to ranked opponents out of the top 25. First possession going to belong to Virginia, and after winning the tip, Kimora Johnson put it in action. She will feed this inside and laying it off the glass for the first points of the contest. Good to see London Clarkson in the mix. Again, the conversation in each of these comes down to who is on the floor and who is not. Virginia a little short-handed again today, as they will be out without the services of both Nguyen, who is in concussion protocol, and Vaughn, who is out also due to an injury. Obviously still awaiting the return of Mir McClain, who is the game changer on this Virginia roster. But Clarkson able to go and able to put the first points on the board for UVA. Fruitful trip down the floor for Virginia already in the books. Wofford looking for their first to that end, and you get a look at Rose, who is the premier performer and ball handler. Kicks this out, and the Wofford coaching staff talking about how much she enjoys providing the assist, and a 1-2 punch. After the first personal called on Heiss, who had the original Wofford bucket, Virginia reclaims the lead, working well in the interior. The Cavaliers, who were up 4-3 in the early going, just a couple of minutes into our across the course of the preseason and the early non-conference season. And talked about the break, the exam break that they just came off of in Spartanburg, as works her way into this one. First action against the Terriers. Johnson has proven to be from the McDonald's High School All-American, two-time Virginia Player of the Year. Playing right here at home. A bucket knocked down for India Clark, one of the freshmen. And one thing you'll notice about this Wofford roster, a number of young players, and again, this mirrors much of what we felt of those unexpected injuries. And certainly that recent bucket coming from one of those key contributors in that vein. Right back into Johnson's grasp, and she weaves through. Brown and company attacking the basket. Off, as we said, to a nice start. 5 of 8 before that most recent trip. And have held the Terriers to just one of the last 7 shots going down for Wofford. And here's Virginia. Look from the corner. Able to corral it was Heiss. Gets it to the corner. After the rebound, relentless effort underneath to snatch away possession by Rose. Saw a snapshot right there of her toughness and tenacity. McGee averages 6.3 per contest, already has 5 to lead all scorers for Virginia. A couple of baskets for Johnson as well. Tries to fire up another on cue, does McGee, but this a little bit off the mark, and it'll remain where it is. Wofford being led by India Clark, the Alaska native, also in her freshman campaign. On the other end of the floor, McGee working well. Kimora Johnson averaging in double figures with 11.1 per contest, also right at 5 assists, and that's a category where she has shined already today. How about this? Has picked up 5 of those on Virginia's surge out front. But Wofford going nowhere. Terriers with Schultz involved. And a start, though it is just 4 of 16 from the field, that has seen this team down the stretch into the final couple of minutes of this first period hang right there with the Cavaliers on the road. To come into an environment like this today, trying to do something that has never been done in the history of the program, and that is beat an ACC opponent. Just the one Power 5 win all time in the history of this program. But with the likes of Rachael Rose, who just doubled her point total in this first period, showing their ability in the first quarter. Wofford now within 1 and a chance to claim the lead at the end of the opening period of play. And who else but Rose, which made it a 16-15 score. And here's a quick inbound, but that's going to rattle off and into the grasp of Lawson. A 9-day exam break for UVA, and even longer stretch without basketball for Wofford as they work through exams as well. Last in action on December 4th ahead of this December 16th contest. They begin the second period, these two. Highly respected. Turn the attention back to basketball on this day, and as we turn our attention to the second period, Pauly now in the scorebook, able to knock down her first try, taking the Virginia lead to 3. After these two were separated by just a single point after one period of play. So a little history made today just in the meeting alone, providing the stability and the foundation for a squad that brought in 6 newcomers, had to replace so many faces. Charge to Smith for a 16th Wofford point to cut the Virginia lead 2-4 a couple of minutes in to the second period. ACC ties for Wofford head coach Jimmy Garrity as well. Beautiful feed as Clark ends up laying it home. And Virginia with a solid answer in the initial stages of the second period to create a little breathing room. Former beginning to heat up just a bit. It's been the story of late that she's had to score 20 or more in order for Wofford to come out on top. They talk about how much she loves to be more involved as a distributor, trying to feed it in a scoring role, and as a result, averaging up over 20 per contest on the year coming into this one. From the floor for Virginia, it stays where it is at 23-21. Here comes Rose again as she works down by Clark. There's a look at Jimmy Garrity. Mentioned his ACC connection, spent some time as an assistant just down the road from the Clemson campus at Anderson. To the helm of this Wofford program, leading to them to that initial Southern Conference regular season championship last season. One of the great gentlemen in this game. Whistled for the contact. That's just a first personal on Clarkson. Rose with pace on her way up. Early season storyline which continues, that when will Virginia have a full contingency of players, and at that point be able to kind of till then. And on this occasion, it's some fancy work from Clark to secure Virginia's most recent bucket. And now a nice rebound as that rolls off into the arms of Brunel. And here the makings of a Cavaliers run. Johnson looked inside but decided to pull this out. Who's after Wofford closed the gap one more time the afternoon. The assist that she has already secured. Scramble for it after McGee disrupted, and somehow able to come away with the basketball was Paulk, but it is only momentarily, as here comes Virginia with numbers laid off left side. It's the Wofford team that had cut it to 1 at the end of the first quarter and cut it back to a single possession. Prior to this, Virginia spurt. Lawson trying to, as Schultz is charged. He is true. The lead to double digits for Virginia at just inside 3 minutes to play in the opening half. And 3 of 6 from the floor and a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Both these teams do very well. Charity stripe opportunities taken advantage of. Johnson's numbers just impressive all the way around. 5 assists per game. Three ball taken, rattles out, and a nice board snatched down by Clark. Pushing it quickly up the floor. Clark now going to be shooting 2. Got the first personal, by the way, on Paulk. And the run grows further for Virginia, even if it does so as the clock is stopped with the free throw opportunities across the last 4 plus. Cavaliers on a 13-2 run. Trying to stall that. A valiant defensive effort by Schultz. And we will see if this was touched by Wofford before it went back. The answer is yes. Clarkson, who asked Lawson to give way, quickly inbound to Kimora Johnson. Down underneath. Cleaned up beautifully, but unable to lay it home is Clarkson. And the rebound away to Rose. Whistle, and they're going to count the bucket as Rose lofted it in the air just as she was being contacted.
No shot.
In this contest, and it looks like that's going to be turned the other way as the Wofford inbound going to be awarded instead. You saw the initial reaction and indication. As those impressive numbers continue to be built by the Conference Player of the Year, and trying something of the reverse variety. Virginia team 14 of 32 from the floor in the first half of action, and trying to pick up the latest of the buckets is Clarkson. She'll draw contact in field goals on the defensive end of the floor, and then working to the free throw line on the offensive end. Though this one goes down and runs the lead to 10 once more at just inside a minute to play in the half. One thing she has to be pleased with to this point is the rebounding advantage has been squarely in Virginia's quarter throughout the half. Terriers try to use the three ball to negate that as Heiss drops one home from distance and cuts the lead to 7. 6 for Heiss as she is 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. But you know, rebounding is the non-negotiable. The second-year head coach of the Cavaliers, Coach Mox, expecting that toughness out of all 5 on the floor, regardless of your designation on the roster. And the rebounding advantage at 23-16, including 7 of the offensive variety for Virginia in this first half. And the ball trickles away just ahead of the horn, but Virginia. Johnson, a catalyst for it. 7 assists and 7 points to her credit. First touch to the Wofford Terriers, and here's the Southern Conference Player of the Year with the basketball is Rose. Gets everything back going here in the third. 6 different contributors for Virginia, a game removed from a contest in which the Cavaliers had 12 different players notch points in the most recent of the night, under the direction of the head coach, before falling to a couple of ranked foes this year, beginning with Oklahoma, and then of course the reigning national champions LSU, the only 2 losses Virginia has experienced this season. But talk about an 18-2 start to non-conference play under the direction of the second-year head coach. Wofford able to secure the first points, lay up good for Polk to pull within a couple of baskets. First points of the third quarter, that is. This one snatched away from Clarkson. A first personal picked up by Cam Taylor, who's perhaps going to factor in a little more heavily in this second half. Think about that last time out for Virginia, in which 12 different players scored, as a group that the young fans are seeing play against those familiar colors, the Virginia Cavaliers, for a very first time here in the 2023-2024 season. Wofford hanging in there. Heiss with the big bucket. She's been a compliment to Rose, who comes away with the rebound here. 8 points for Heiss. You factor in the 6 of Clark on the Wofford side of things. And this is a Terriers team with the basketball, down just 3. And here's the 3 that would tie it. Heiss trying to add to her total, but that rattles out. And Wofford staying with it down the right side of the lane. Heiss gives way to Rose. Those two coming together nicely. Rose, who already has 13 from the free throw line for Rose to this point in the game. She hits on the first 6. Another thing you notice for Wofford, 6 3-point field goals, doubling up the total for Virginia to this point in the game. It's the reason, in many ways, things sit at a 1-point advantage for Virginia. And that will grow just a bit as an open look from the baseline, knocked down by Lawson. Lawson with her first points of the night, 1 of 3 from the floor, lead back to 3. Rose playing a little back and forth with Schultz here before it goes inside. Polk tries to find some room, but difficulty getting around the size of Taylor inside, and here comes Virginia. Taylor with it, puts it on the floor with the left hand, and sees a wide open Lawson, who will decide to drive, and she gets this to rattle. Talked about Wofford's ability to score from beyond the arc. Taylor coming off that breakout performance in Virginia's most recent win, still looking for her first points as she has come on here in the second half for Virginia. Slices through and grabs the rebound and tries to take it back up, but contact. Aisu, the only players with more than one. Back of the iron on the first three, and she has picked up a couple of fouls in just 5 minutes played, but she now a 1 o'clock tip in this one as Virginia welcomed in Wofford for the first time. Tony Bennett and company in action. 22nd ranked team in the country will take on Northeastern at 6 p.m. tonight at JPJ. So fans filing in, getting to enjoy a good bit of basketball on this day. Have to love the inbound play they saw there, as Taylor now has her first from the floor to go along with that free throw earlier. And the lead 6 for Virginia. Answer for Wofford as the Terriers pull back within 4 and are the takeaway away to Clark after a successful trip down the floor the last time. Ada the latest into the, to get the last of this sorted out ahead of the Virginia inbound. And the total rebounds a +7 for Virginia, but the majority of the other categories, whether it be turnovers at just a +3, three-pointers we talked about, Cam Taylor, all of whose points have come in this second half of action. And at the 3-minute mark, this latest bucket will serve to make it 2 possessions again. Wofford 3 of its last 3 and 5 of the last 7, and that the Terriers will not let Virginia, will not allow the Cavaliers to run off and hide here inside 2 minutes left in the third. Movement for Virginia. Clark has it up top, weighing her options. Taylor going to take one from distance. Again, fresh off that 18-point, 13-rebound performance the last time out. That hit the top of the backboard, came back, showing that, as well as depth has been a challenge, but the fight battled on the road against Virginia here today. Virginia having connected on 9 of 12 free throws to build this 50-44 advantage. Quick look in an effort to stop and pop a 3, but nothing but air. Virginia quickly in transition to double figures in the contest with 11 now. Is Paris Clark. Now here at the very end of the third quarter, Wofford has provided an answer to stay within striking distance. On this occasion, it's another assist from Rose and another bucket from Heiss. Virginia's answer on the other end of the floor will not go. Rebound there, but the second chance point does not fall either. Final seconds of the third. Rose lost this in the air. The Wofford staff talking about Heiss as wanting to be good more than anybody else you'll find in the gym. On the calendar, at least, back on the 6th of December. Hands full with Wofford here as the fourth period begins. Both teams shooting at right around 40%. 39 to be specific for the Terriers, 41 for the Hoos. So much good work being done by the Virginia bench again, and a great deal of it in the interior. 2 strengths that Virginia would like to exploit in this fourth quarter, and as Heiss tries to work through traffic. A whistle as a foul is called on McGee. Remember, McGee had 9 points early in this one. Has been somewhat quiet since her surge out of the gate to help Virginia build the advantage. Talked about the lead being in Virginia's hands for now over 29.5 minutes. But they've been unable to this point to put the Wofford Terriers away. Speaks to the tenacity of this pesky group, and it continues. A 3 ball to cut it to 1 possession again This one falls for Clark. And it is 52-50 with 9:15 left to play in the basketball game. And a timeout is going to be called for, as with 9:05 to go, the Wofford Terriers have evened up. As Virginia knows all too well, challenged from a depth standpoint with a limited number of bodies, 9, at times 8 to work with along the way. Think about this Virginia team a season ago having to turn down Cavaliers with at least 25 off its bench for the 7th time this year, including a comeback against Tulane in which they boasted 49. That's been the story here, but no matter what Virginia seems to do, whatever the formula for the Cavaliers to inch out front and attempt to stay there, Wofford has had an answer. 18 seconds the time in this game in which the Wofford Terriers led, and that was the early three-pointer right after the opening tip in the Virginia bucket, a 3-2 advantage that Wofford held, having connected for 13 in the contest. India Clark, the Wasilla, Alaska native, the major undecided. One of those playing decisively, at least to this point, in what is the Terriers enjoying a largest lead now at 59-55. 15 for Clark, and all of that coming with under 6 to play. Top of the key, and it has been Olivia McGee, the highly regarded recruit from nearby inside the Commonwealth product, who is basketball trickling out of bounds, belonging to Virginia just before a painful moment for the 17-point scorer Rose. Here's Cam Taylor. Implore this Virginia defense to come away with a much-needed stop. You can hear their presence inside JPJ now, as the game has dipped inside its final 5 minutes of the length needed on this Wofford basket. From Tuilabi. First points come in a timely spot. Virginia, things tied up again. I'll say it one more time. Clarkson. Trey Smith working off in this group of substitutions, and enough. Taylor now in double digits, and as she gets there, Virginia reclaims the lead at 63-61. Cavaliers having led the majority of the contest, but Wofford surging out front when it has mattered here in the fourth, and another 3-ball, this one from Polk. Her first from beyond the arc and 4th overall field goal of the day, and it's a 1-point Wofford lead. Little turnaround right at the charity stripe, and Taylor remains hot, and a 1-point lead for Virginia. A Wofford Terriers squad with just a single victory over Power 5 opponents all time. Took down Alabama out of the SEC a decade or so ago, trying to pick up a first ACC, a victory over an ACC foe ever, and do it against one of the teams that in recent years, certainly the 2 years under Coach Mox, has been as good in non-conference play as about anybody you'll find. Built off 14 in a row under her leadership. The only 2 losses in non-conference action. The team's ranked in the top 25. Wofford giving Virginia a handful on this day. And down the lane goes the Conference Player of the Year. And Rose will try to go for 3 the old-fashioned way. Lays one home, the and one coming in a 66-65 contest with just under 2.5 to play. Well, if you wondered at all about the toughness and energy of Rose, a player that the Wofford staff mentioned plays with a chip on her shoulder, so often doubted in her career. Coach Jimmy Garrity called her the most competitive player, the strongest competitor he's ever coached. They ask her to score 20-plus night after night. She's on the verge of it here again with 19. She and the Terriers up one. Key possession for Virginia. Nice inbound play. Rebound ends up away to Clarkson. Cleared out top to Smith, who slows things down. Alexia Smith doing the responsibilities out top in conjunction with Johnson across the course of the day. Her shot too strong, but another rebound for Clarkson. 40-plus pulled down for Virginia in the game, and that rebound advantage as it grows, keeping the Cavaliers in position for second and third chances, maybe a fourth, and it will go down as Clark comes flying in for both the rebound and the bucket. She does not have perhaps the size advantage that some on this Virginia roster enjoy. She comes away with one of the bigger rebounds and baskets of the night. Completes the three-point play, 13 for Clark, and Virginia out front by a couple with 95 to go. Now 90 seconds to play. Wofford team that has led more than once here in the fourth. Trying to pick up its marquee win in recent years, and another three goes down. Double-digit three-pointers, and a Wofford lead of 69-68 with a minute and change to go. The latest for Heiss, who has 16 in the contest. Rebound away to Wofford. 1 minute to play at John Paul Jones Arena. And a Virginia team whose only non-conference losses in 2 years under Coach Mox have come to rank foes. On the ropes a bit here, but 10 seconds to call. And here's a look at Wofford's attempt from the corner, which rattled home to give the Terriers the lead. It will be after the turnover, though. Virginia basketball with 52.5 to play. 17th turnover of the contest for Wofford. Taylor a bit too strong, and it will stay on this end. 17 turnovers for Wofford, 15 of them for Virginia. Wofford now shooting 46% from the field. Virginia 41. 1 point game. And turning around inside, tie up. The alternating possession arrow keeps it with Virginia. Most of the leads that Coach Jimmy Garrity's squad has enjoyed have been right here in the fourth period, led 3-2 early. And then after never allowing Virginia to put them away, despite double-digit leads for the Cavaliers, Terriers have surged back, remain out front. Virginia for the lead from three-point land, won't go. Another UVA rebound. The rebounding really holding this team in it, but an untimely turnover as this one is thrown away just in front of that Virginia bench. And the Terriers team shooting 46% from the floor and 42% from beyond the arc with 11 threes in the game. In possession of the basketball. Though this is stolen away on the inbound by Clark. Underneath it goes, and Smith lays it home as Virginia reclaims the lead in the final half minute. 70-69 UVA. Timeout there apiece for the taking if needed. Shot clock off as Wofford possesses the ball. Here is Rose. Looking out top. 5 to play. Back into the hands of Rose. She'll take the shot. Banks it off the glass as time winds down. And Wofford takes the lead 71-70. They will no doubt check to notch its marquee win of the year to start a stretch that's going to be something to behold. On the road at Tennessee, on the road at Georgia, before taking on North Greenville at home and then getting back in to conference play to start the new year. The Wofford Terriers showing toughness defensively with the timely buckets.
Hey. I need us all coming in here on this one. Let's go. Come on. We all got to get in here on this one. Come on.